Thank you. Okay, sorry, Uncle. Please go ahead.
Hi, Ankur Mishra from ET Now. First and foremost, congratulations to SBI and SBI Mutual Fund for launching 250 rupees SIP. Ma'am, my question to you first is that we have seen the discussion paper which came on 250 rupees SIP, and even before the final guidelines are here, State Bank of India has come up with the JanNivesh SIP scheme. My question is, when these final guidelines are there, will it be again compulsive kind of a thing or optional, which has been the case till now? Because there has been similar cases of even 100 rupees SIPs being launched earlier. So what is that scenario which may look like?
So it's completely optional for every AMC whether they would like to offer it or not. The reason why the circular was required over and above what people were doing in any case was that we needed to put in place certain provisions to allow us to make it viable. So as I said, under the current existing schemes, it's not a viable product. You need some 7-8 years of break-even, and pata nahi investor udhar tak rehta hai, nahi rehta hai. So we wanted to bring that break-even period down, so we needed an enabling clause in the regulations to allow us to issue circulars to enable that. So that is the reason, but it's completely optional. Each AMC will decide on its own what it would like to do, which scheme, whether to do it at all, which scheme to do, whether a pure equity scheme, balance scheme, etc. And to what extent they would like to propagate it. So it's really up to them. So, but for us, we know that SBI has been absolutely, quick off the starting post. And I think that reflects two things. One is, of course, the commitment to this whole objective of inclusion. I think Mr. Setty put it very well. So, they didn't really need to wait for all of that. They said, we are going to go ahead anyway because we believe in it. The second thing is really that, as you know, SEBI follows a highly consultative process of regulation making. So AMFI members and all the MFAC members already know what is it that has been recommended, what is it that has been approved, what is it that's going to be notified soon. So in many ways, and it's in public domain, you yourself have read the consultation paper. So which is why it's not high risk for them to launch at this stage.
Okay. One question to Mr. Setty. I saw the release, the first line says SBI Mutual Fund in partnership with SBI. Am I reading too much between the lines? What kind of partnership is there? Of course, it is your subsidiary. And more than that, is it going to be limited schemes which will be available at rupees 250 SIP?
SBI.
Yes, sir.
Sometimes, when you have to give your strength to somebody, you have to take a second position. We don't mind doing that. So, but as far as mutual fund is concerned, SBI Mutual Fund today, the AMC is the largest AMC in the country. I think probably we would like this AMC to become the largest in the world. And if it is so, in our journey of the investment opportunities, the AMC is a bigger partner than so we would like to be a partner in financialization of the investment. I think I mentioned there. So you don't have to read too much into it, but I think it's a fact that yes, we would, along with other partners. I think the idea is that an AMC can be successful only when they partner with many people, and because this product requires a complete end-to-end process, and I think fintechs have the capability to make it available. And we are no less fintech. We are the largest fintech in the world, in the country now, right? So SBI, we're just positioning ourselves as the fintech partner of SBI Mutual Fund. Thank you.
Hello, this is... Yes.
So I think ma'am did point out that we should mention that it is also available on YONO, which is our end-to-end platform, and therefore accessible to all our own customers as well. Thank you.
Thank you. This is Yash Jain from CNBC TV 18. First of all, congratulations to the team at SBI, SBI Mutual Fund, and of course SEBI for handholding this. Just one suggestion. I mean, the industry has been running a campaign of mutual fund sahi hai. Just something needs to be added, I guess, there. Mutual fund sasta hai, because I mean this goes very well with that. I have two questions, one for, of course, Madam Chairperson, and one for Mr. Setty. Madam, to you, I mean, mutual fund investments give you the best returns when you invest in a down cycle. That's been the nature of the investments. How would you look at the timing of this launch, where markets corrected significantly across indices, across stocks, for a scheme like this to be launched at this point and getting people included at such a time? How would you look at that? And to Mr. Setty, as far as the scheme is concerned, just want to understand a little in terms of its availability. How do you see the progression from it being available across market cap sizes, in terms of mid cap, small cap? How do you see that progression happening, towards taking it to investors?
So, to my mind, the best returns on any market-linked instruments come actually when you don't try and time the market. So the SIP is a perfect product. You buy month after month, if necessary week after week, you average out your cost of acquisition, and that is the right strategy. So it is only the bulk purchases, the big investors who try and time the market. And I'm sure that they are viewing the market right now to say, is this a buying opportunity? And we have seen in the past, the data supports the fact that actually when foreign flows go out, for FPI flows go out because of global reasons, it is the domestic institutions and the retail investors who come in to fill the gap. So invariably, that's the kind of data we see. It's almost a mirror image. So to that extent, I would say there's no time like the present at all. At the same time, I would also want to say that I think SBI Mutual Fund has picked the most appropriate scheme, because it's a balanced scheme. So depending on the fund manager's view of the market, whether there's a further correction or whether we are, pretty much at the plateau, or whether, a little bit of buying, a little bit of selling, all those strategies the fund manager would do. And in fact balance out across the scheme. So it's a very carefully and I think in a very mature fashion selected scheme for this product.
So investor wealth creation and investor protection have been two important elements which our AMC has always been following. As ma'am mentioned, I think it would be initially be tried with the balance advantage fund. You want to say something? I think I will ask MD AMC to respond.
Yeah, we will be offering it under the Balanced Advantage Fund, only one scheme at this point of time, because that seems appropriate for the kind of launch we are looking at.
Hi ma'am, good evening. I'm Khushbu Tiwari from Business Standard. We all know that you don't head forward without any data, and in the consultation paper you said that mutual funds will be able to utilize the investor education fund to reach the break even. So what is the analysis on how much the outgo might be in between the industry that you might have conducted the consultation? The first question. And the second question is, will there be a limit of, as sir said, one scheme per mutual fund house, or will there be any relaxation? Or can the mutual fund house launch multiple scheme of multiple different orientation in the same thing?
So it's a good question. The reason why there is a cap is that because the entire ecosystem is coming together to support bringing new people into the system, right? So we have to also protect against any possible misuse of this, right? So which is why we needed to put a cap. Now, one argument that was put forth was to say, the minute the first person comes in, why do you need anything more than that? Because he's into the system now. So why is the cap not equal to 1? Our logic was, no, it should not be 1, and we've permitted 3. So 3 different, 250 rupee SIPs, or this low value SIPs that we say. Why is that? Because we want to encourage all the AMCs to go out there and create the partnerships, the channels, and the infrastructure to reach out. Now, if as a business person, you were to tell me that there'll be only one winner, so to speak, in every new location, and I say, oh, now SBI is already present, why am I going to go waste my time, right? So the reason we allow 3 is so that 5 will try and do the work, 3 will actually end up getting the customer, and so you will have everybody will be encouraged to go. So which is why the logic was not 1, but at least 3, and then more than that could end up in misuse, so then we put a cap on it. In terms of the total cost, I think some scenario analysis has been done. As you can imagine, the whole piece depends on what will be the uptake of the product, and therefore to what extent the incentive which is there, which needs to be paid out of that investor education fund, how much will that be? So on various scenarios it was done. I can't see my team sitting here, but the number was fairly small in terms of the proportion of the total fund available. So to that extent, even under various scenarios, we were very comfortable that this is not going to in any way jeopardize the overall investor education initiatives that the industry undertakes. So it's a relatively small portion.
Ma'am, the 3 scheme is for the investor. For the fund house, is there any cap? Like one scheme, such scheme, 1 to 250 rupees scheme per fund house? Or they can launch multiple schemes under the 250 thing?
They can launch multiple schemes, but they'll get the incentive only for, as I said, the way that it's been articulated, 1 into 3. So if they sell another scheme tomorrow, that's fine, but it won't get the same incentives because everybody is contributing to, making it viable. So we can't put such a big load on the whole ecosystem.
And ma'am, any concerns on because there might be schemes which are very highly risky, certain pockets of fraud that we have earlier mentioned. So will there be any intervention from SEBI side if any fund house is planning to launch this 250 for a highly risky product?
We do not stipulate. As you saw, even when there was froth in the market, which now in segments of the market, you've seen what has panned out after that. Everyone, the market movements are there for everybody to see. Even at that stage, we never intervened to say what you can or cannot do. We only asked for disclosures. So we are a disclosure-based regime, and the AMCs are mature enough to know that particularly a new investor coming into the market, if he burns his fingers, you've lost him forever. So I'm sure they will be extremely mature in the way in which they sell schemes to them.
Ma'am, hi, this is Mahalakshmi from Money Control. So I have 2 questions, one for you and one for Mr. Setty. One is, this is all in aid of financial inclusion. So in that context, I'm asking this question. Would SBI revisit the idea of distributing other AMC's funds? And secondly, from a regulatory perspective, do you see the need for banks to distribute, not restrict themselves to only distributing their own funds?
You want me to respond first? Okay.
I'm happy to respond. So I think I will request, the data speaks for itself. Okay, so first of all, it's a two-way thing, right? So one is, as far as SBI AMC is concerned, what proportion of their business comes through the bank versus through other distributors? And you're seeing a whole lot of partners sitting here today at this table. That is one data. The other data is in terms of what is the agreement or arrangement between an AMC and the distributors. So we are very, very clear, and we've always been clear, mutual fund distributors are an agent of the mutual fund. They are not the agent of the investor. The investment advisors are the agent of the investor. So they need to ensure that whatever may be the appropriate choice of showing 55, 10 different mutual funds to the investor is their responsibility. A mutual fund distributor has a contractual agreement with the AMC. So it's as though he's an extended arm of the AMC. It's like he's almost an employee on contract. Now you don't tell an employee, please go and sell the competitor's mutual fund, right? So the contractual arrangement, we are very clear. So in fact, if you notice, SEBI does not regulate mutual fund distributors. We have always taken the stand that they are the agents of the AMC. If they do something wrong, we will hold the AMC accountable because they are their agents. So to us, this is the contractual legal framework in which it operates. We would worry a lot if an investment advisor who is meant to be watching out for the investor and has no source, supposedly no source of income from the manufacturer, if he were to be selling only one kind of mutual fund, we would worry about it.
That's a very thoughtful, clever answer.
It's the reality.
So you also wanted me to answer, so I'll be clear on that. Today our AMC has got a suite of products which our customers, when they come to our counters, are quite happy to be consuming. And as ma'am mentioned, I think SBI AMC and SBI always tries to ensure that the products or the schemes which are made available at the counters of SBI are something which our customer base understands. And also the counter staff are able to understand and guide them, are the people who are qualified to sell the mutual fund products. I just want to tell you that I was sharing with the chairperson also, no product, whether it is an insurance product, mutual fund product, or general insurance product, cannot be sold by SBI teams unless the product is approved by none other than MD in charge of the retail. At that highest level, the products are cleared. So just to ensure that we don't do any inappropriate selling to our customers. As far as open architecture is concerned, for those customers who are able to understand the differentiated products, we do make them available on an open architecture basis through our wealth teams. You may be familiar, right? Our wealth teams do not sell only SBI AMC products. We are open, to all schemes which our customers want to be shown to them.
Fair enough. Just one more question, ma'am. Once upon a time, SEBI was discussing revisiting the expense structure for mutual funds, and then it was sort of put in abeyance. You were in discussion with the industry. When is that going to be revisited or status quo?
I think the industry has given us some new data, because since the earlier analysis was based on even more earlier data, so therefore there was a need to refresh the data. I think the industry has given, if I'm not mistaken, industry has given some data, so I'm sure the team is looking at that.
Okay, we have time for 2 more questions. Please go ahead.
राजेश फ्रॉम जी बिजनेस सर, आपसे सवाल ये होगा कि आप प्लान कर रहे थे, आप निवेश की बात कर रहे हैं, लेकिन मैं विनिवेश की बात करना चाहता हूँ। SBI म्यूचुअल फंड के IPO का आपका प्लान था, फिर आपने टाल दिया, तो क्या उस पर कोई रीथिंकिंग है? ये सवाल आपसे है। और मैडम, आपसे सवाल ये था कि आपने रिसेंटली बात किया था दिल्ली में, और आपने ये कहा था कि म्यूचुअल फंड के साथ इंश्योरेंस भी बंडल करके आना चाहिए। तो वो थॉट, उस थॉट पे जस्ट अ थॉट है या आपकी कोई वर्किंग है उस पर अभी?
And ma'am, just a follow-up, how would it be different from a ULIP product? Because that again has equity as the underlying asset. If this is to be done a bundle, how will it be different?
So, my understanding is कि AMFI का एक proposal है उस पे, the combo product of insurance and mutual funds. Whether that product has gone to MFAC for deliberations, I'm not very sure. Has it?
It was discussed once, ma'am.
Okay. 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 So it's under process. You know, we do everything through consultation. So AMFI का proposal आया हमारे पास. We took it to MFAC. MFAC, our Mutual Fund Advisory Committee. They have given some feedback, asked for some data. Now at the next meeting again it will be taken up. So it is work in progress. This is the normal cycle of any new product introduction.
As far as, I think this question we frequently face IPOs, this thing, we have not had any decision on that. And the moment we decide we are going to have the press conference here in this room only, I can promise you. Thank you.
सर, एक छोटा सा क्लैरिफिकेशन भी चाहिए। ये आपने कहा कि आप ट्रांजैक्शन चार्जेस नहीं लेंगे, तो जो लोग योनो से ऑनबोर्ड करेंगे उनसे नहीं लेंगे या किसी से भी नहीं लेंगे?
This is a completely digital solution what we are looking at, because while we do definitely give access to the yono, even in the branch when some customer comes, we don't want a physical form to be filled up because that increases the cost. So it will be a completely digital journey, and since that is going to be end-to-end digital journey, we would like to take away the transactions.
will it be different from ULIP? Since there's a clash of the underlying asset as a features.
आप देख लीजिएगा जब product आएगा.
Okay, we'll take just one last question. Hi, go ahead.
जब बैलेंस एडवांटेज फंड इज ओनली लॉन्च किया गया है तो इसके पीछे क्या बड़ी सोच है, क्या एसबीआई प्लेटफॉर्म जो है, क्योंकि आप सर 20-22 हज़ार ब्रांचेस से ज़्यादा पे पहुंच है और ग्रामीण इलाकों पे भी पहुंच है, तो आप नहीं चाहते कि उनको ज़्यादा रिस्कियर प्रोडक्ट दिया जाए, सबसे कम रिस्कियर प्रोडक्ट ऑफर किया जाए, इसीलिए बैलेंस एडवांटेज फंड तक ही इस जन निवेश SIP को रिस्ट्रिक्ट रखा गया है.
Let me also tell you that this one fund which we are talking about, Balance Advantage Fund, when we did through SBI, the banker related mutual fund, it has reached every pin code of the country. Every pin code of the country. I think the reach which had this Balance Advantage Fund, we want to align with this JanNivesh DP.
Yes, sir. One is this, and second, as you rightly said in your question itself, being a responsible investor, because in Balance Advantage Fund, what is happened, the fund manager takes a call, it can move from 0% to 100% into equities. So at present we were 30%, 32%, as the market cracks we may move to 40-45%, because we are reaching out to many small investors. So we don't want them to burn fingers. As ma'am said, if they burn fingers, then they will never come into the market. We don't want that to happen. That's why we have come out only with Balance Advantage Fund, and we want to continue with that for a long time.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
You have a question? Do you want to ask the question? No, but time is up. If you have another question, we can. No, just if another person wants to ask.
One clarification is, what about the transaction charges for other partners? The same situation or different?
I think sir has already responded to that.
Yeah. गुड इवनिंग, एकता फ्रॉम जी बिजनेस. सर, एक इन्वेस्टर पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से सवाल पूछना चाहूँगी कि यहाँ हम 250 रुपये की SIP की बात कर रहे हैं, क्योंकि 100 रुपये की SIP भी अवेलेबल है. तो अगर किसी को इन्वेस्ट करने के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से ये सोचना हो कि मैं 250 रुपया निवेश कर रही हूँ, तो क्यों ये वाली SIP 100 रुपये की SIP से वो बेटर कंसिडर करे? लाइक जस्ट जस्टिफिकेशन फ्रॉम एन इन्वेस्टर पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू.
ये 250 रुपये की SIP जो हम बात कर रहे हैं ना, उसमें हम जनरली ये सोच रहे हैं हम महीने की बात कर रहे हैं, पर हमारे दिमाग में है कि 250 रुपये डेली देने वाले बहुत हैं. एंड विद द पार्टनर्स लाइक योनो एंड पेटीएम एंड अदर पीपल, दे हैव मिलियंस ऑफ पार्टनर्स हु आर गेटिंग डेली कैश फ्लोज. वी वांट दिस हैबिट टू इनकलकेट नॉट ओनली इन मंथली बट वीकली, डेली, fortnightly, monthly, that kind of thing. So idea is target audience is totally different, much more mass than the normal SIP.
All right, thank you so much everybody for being here. Ma'am, sirs, thank you very much for your time and of course for championing this cause. And may I request all of you to please join us for tea. Thank you, have a good evening.
The Trump administration has frozen United States Agency of International Development or the USAID operations, crippling the world's largest humanitarian programs. But what is USAID and why has it become Trump's latest casualty? Let's begin from the very start. Why was USAID created? Well, it was established by President John F. Kennedy during the Cold War in 1961 to counter Soviets' influence through foreign assistance. Congress passed the Foreign Assistance Act to formalize this effort, making USAID an independent agency. Although the Soviet